Okay. All right. Thank you out there in TV land. We're going to have a workshop for the City Planning Commission, and we're discussing our planning workshop is the planning area boundary discussion. This is our first workshop, and there'll be many workshops to come. So we'll start the discussion with we've got a map back here of the city area. And one thing I wanted to do is read the empowerment law from the Arkansas Code of 1987, updated in 2023. It's Title 14, Subtitle 3, Chapter 57 of the Zoning Regulations Planning, and Subchapter 4 of Municipal Planning and Preparation Plans. It says, the Planning Commission shall undertake suitable studies related to the plans to be prepared. The studies shall be conducted after the completion of the planning area map and prior to the preparation of the plans. The land use plan, the Commission may prepare and adopt a land use plan for which includes and shall not be limited to the preservation of open spaces, the preservation of natural and historic features, sites, and monuments, the existing usage are to be retained without change, existing usage proposed change, areas proposed for new development. The plan may include areas proposed redevelopment, rehabilitation, renewal, or similar programs. All right, and that's it. So the plan, also one thing I wanted to do is the plan can include public or private utility terminals and lines, transportation terminals and lines. The plan may include areas to be reserved for public acquisition as provided in this subchapter. So, and community specificity, playgrounds, recreational areas, hospitals, special education facilities, and cultural facilities. So with that, we'll open the discussion.
Hi, the only question I had, well, I have two actually. I read in the code for responsibilities of us, the Bozeman Planning Commission. Under Planning Commission in section 13.04.070, powers and duties, at B, it says that the commission shall prepare and maintain a map showing the general location of streets, public ways, and public property, and the boundaries of the area within the territorial jurisdiction for which it will prepare plans, ordinances, and regulations. Such map will be known as the planning area map.
Okay.
I don't know when this was written, but it says that, do we have a planning area map? So we haven't.
Isn't that what that is right there?
I think
the zoning.
the current map that's up here is just a city limits map.
So whenever this was actually recognized as being official, we haven't had this
To
planning.
my knowledge, we have not.
Okay, and
I've only been on the planning commission a couple of years.
sure, I thought.
Ann's been on longer than I have.
I thought that the planning commission, I thought the zoning map was going to be it, but no, that's not.
No, it's a.
And then one other thing within that paragraph says that, anyway, let me get to it real quick. The commission shall designate the area within the territorial jurisdiction for which it will prepare those plans, ordinance, and regulations. However, pursuant to Act 379 of 1969, Acts of Arkansas, it is hereby expressly recognized that the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas shall not fix or prescribe nor attempt to fix or prescribe directly or indirectly any zoning control or zoning authority over the lands lying outside of its corporate city limits. Right. So we cannot exercise any, we can't expand out past our city limits.
The zoning, right. And that's why we're talking about planning area boundary.
Okay.
Now, once we do a planning area boundary, and that's what we're going to do is try to establish what that is and what we're going to come. But then we basically give that to the county clerk.
Okay.
The county clerk registers that boundary area, and then the city council can take action thereof by annexation or whatever action they want to take.
Okay.
Right? Is that correct, Ann?
This is all new.
Okay. Well, that's what it's been.
I had hoped that I think somebody reached out to Berryville or some planning commission. I was hoping that we would hear something back,
right,
kind of as guidance of where we need to go with this.
I agree. I will take that up. I can take that up. Matter of fact, I know we had Pea Ridge just expanded theirs city limits, and so I could talk to their planning commission, and also a number of other cities in the area. And I think, like I say, Berryville did it too. So we've got a number of cities we can get different information from each one of them. And I can reach out to doing that.
So going back to what Michael said about not expand the zoning, how does this work?
Well, my understanding from talking to and looking at the law and going through and doing my research is that essentially it is, as the city grows, the city decides, like I think what's happened is the mayor's office has kind of contacted the planning commission and said, we would like you to develop a planning area boundary map. And that's kind of the first step. And the next step is basically, as we do this, as we develop an area, we figure out, okay, like I think there's different things, but the one thing after we do commit to a map and we present that and get the basically the authority from the mayor's office, I guess it would be the mayor's, to let it go to the county clerk's office if it's intact and complete. I guess that's make sure it's complete. Somebody has to check our work, I guess. And then they would come back and the county clerk would endorse it and put it in there. And then basically that's how it works. I mean,
I think that, can I ask, go ahead.
So we don't know if these other cities that have done this have actually hired someone to do this, or they've done it themselves.
No.
What they've got, the problem is, we can go, I think, out a mile outside our existing city limits, but we have to have a legal description. And that little work thing we had with Von Tugland a while back. On
Yep,
the deal.
that's what I was going to ask him about that too.
Yeah, they show, I think, Searcy's an example, and Searcy, I think, had the interstate on one side and a river on the other side, and they had some natural boundaries that could, define very easily what their 1 mile or what their area was. We don't really have that, and I think Susan was asked the mayor what kind of budget we had, and we want to hire somebody, an engineer, somebody, McClellan or whoever, Garber, somebody to, I think we'll decide on how far we want to go out with the 1 mile all around the town or parts of the town or whatever. But we have to have a legal description, I think, and that's going to cost money, and we don't have a budget.
I understand that the mayor has already contacted an engineer of some kind, of surface engineer, and they're going to do some kind of a plotting grid of the area and then mark the grid as to what we want to annex or whatever reason. The primary reason, from what I understand, that we're doing this is to expand our planning area to extend past the state limits to areas that are getting city services, like water and garbage, and like up there on Passion Play Road. The areas up there that are getting city services, but they don't have to pay city taxes based on their property, even though they are getting city water. And therefore, we would put, if we found an area that we wanted to annex like that, we'd put it to a vote of the people and say, do you want this area to be annexed into the city?
Well,
And the reason,
that's the second stage. The first stage is,
Yeah,
I think the first stage
determine that area.
is just planning. I don't think the city has the input. I think we decided to do it. I think we
That's
do
right.
it.
yeah, we're the ones that have to find the area and,
Yeah, and then-
and the reason for it.
right.
And this file is, where he said we filed a record with the courthouse, and then after that, if, the city wants to do an annexation, they've already got the legal description and the area to be annexed.
Right.
So,
Back to your question, though, about we have to hire somebody. I understand the mayor's already spoke to an engineer.
Well, he hasn't told Susan Holman that, so we
I was
don't.
going to say that he needs to be sitting here then.
Yeah.
So then are we wanting to look at areas that, we're looking places that we can have economic development? Excuse me.
Yep.
Because just off the top of my head, Passion Play Road is to me not buildable. I mean,
Correct.
it's,
I understand.
I'm looking at, just in my mind, thinking about it, going out 23 South. What's very interesting about 23 South, the side that Acords is on, and there's that church next to Acord on the, I don't know if I'm going north, south, whatever.
You're going south. You're going south.
So that church is the end of the city limits.
Correct.
However, across the street, it's county.
That's right.
It's not in the city limits. And I'm not really sure where that does it start at the treatment center? I don't know where it starts that it's not in the city limits.
Right, and that's what, I think this map behind me
Okay.
can delineate that in terms of everybody's knowledge of it. And it's also available online, too. I looked at it online. The problem with the online is...
Can't read it.
Yeah, exactly. You start zooming in and you can't tell what it is.
But yeah, to identify the areas like, I think Onyx Cave Road,
Right,
take 62 out toward Berryville. But since I don't really know anything about this, so let's just say we did these areas
okay.
and people are on septic tanks, that doesn't change.
No,
We
it
don't-
does not.
we don't have to
It's up-
provide any
it's-
service.
Like I said, there are people in septic tanks that are in city limits now.
Right, but I know that in our code, it talks about you connect to city things.
Right.
So we're not going to be changing their lifestyle?
No.
Okay.
No. As far as I
I
know,
think
the...
we've got to provide police and fire.
Right. My initial understanding from just the segue I got, the snapshot I got from the mayor's office was that we would provide limited services of just fire and police for a number of years until it stabilized or things like that, if the city did annex an area.
What do you mean till it's stabilized?
Well, I mean, until, like it says, until whatever the city council decides, and then they come up with a plan and say, okay, within 3 years, within 4 years, within, I don't know, that the stabilized would be, and that's what could happen. What could happen, and it's possible, is that if we encroach on somebody which they wanted to be in the county, they could move.
But right now, the only thing we're really concerned with is developing the planning area map. So we're going to look at the area of the city limits and then maybe break it up into sections, sections. And then part of the work in progress is
Right.
to break down each of those sections and say, okay, do we want to include this section because of what these reasons are involved in the map? And then the
Correct.
other side, like you say, this area right here, do we want to include that area past the city limits? And how far out can we go as 1 mile? Is that what we want to, so we just want to basically develop a map that extends out of the city limits areas that we consider that could be areas of development.
Right. So in my thing, one of the things, and I think Ann brought this up great, is there's a, what I call is a, for me, a two-phased thing would be the first phase was where are those areas where only one side of the street is inside the city limits? Where are those areas? That would be one area to look at, I mean, that's an easy.
Something to look at.
It's an easy thing. Okay, so we're going to pick up the other side of the street. So that would be one thing to make it symmetrical. So a symmetrical phase. And then the next one would be a pure expansion phase where you're going to go out.
And we would have, I guess the word would be jurisdiction on 1 mile out from any section we see. Southeast,
go-
southeast, northwest, we can go 1 mile out of the diameter of the city
That's
limits.
my understanding from the law. It says 1 mile.
And it may come down to what the engineer or the surveyor says. It may be easier to say, well, half of a section,
Right.
from here is
Right.
easier to do than trying to, pick a point and go out with a meets and bounds around there. Maybe the engineer said, well, I can do it, the cheapest I can do it is doing, this, half a
Right.
section here and a half a section
Right.
there, whatever,
And-
rather than
and
saying.
it also may be, when we look at these boundaries, it'll also, the deeds will be in there and the deed areas and stuff. There may be one, it does, there's the deeded land goes beyond that 1 mile. So we have to look at adjusting that accordance to, so we either take the whole property or we don't take the whole property, things like that.
From what I understand from hearing things recently in the city council meetings and whatnot, we're also trying to do an economic impact with this planning area map. So if you get a certain area into it, but planning area, it's going to, if there's housing and development in those areas that are not incorporated now, that will affect the income
Sure.
averages in Eureka Springs.
For tax revenue.
Yeah, so if we were to, for some reason, say, incorporate the area around, that's already developed, but not in the city limits up around Passion Play, if I put that into our planning area map, that economic status of the people living there would affect our, when we do the 10-year, what they do every 10 years?
Audit, the state audit.
Yeah, thing, and it would potentially increase or decrease our average economic income here, because Eureka Springs, for what I understand, for the square miles of the city and the population, we have the highest economic income level of any other incorporated city in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, per acre. Yeah. Go ahead, Ann.
A concern I have is this engineer.
Yeah.
If this in fact has happened, has the decision already been made of what areas and been given to the engineer to research? Do we have any idea?
Well, no, I don't believe there's been any, I just think the question, I think last time we had is, I think we're talking about the budget, and one way to figure out what the budget would be to get a quote from an engineer, and I think that's probably what's going on.
Susan has asked the mayor for what our budget, do we have a budget for this? And when I talked to her, she called before the meeting and said she couldn't be here. And she said, the mayor hadn't gotten back with me on what our budget is. So,
Yeah.
Now you know more than Susan does.
I have a copy of I have the copy of the budget. I can find this in there
Yeah.
and see what we have.
Yeah, so and that's it, so,
I think
yeah.
it's like $1,500 a year.
Yeah.
But we've never voted on anything of where that money is spent. That was questioned several years ago, and I was told it went to pay for legal fees when we did, we'd send something to Tim Weaver to review to get it back that we had to pay for. However, when I did ask for copies of the invoices, I didn't get any.
Wow,
So
Yeah.
the budget has never been anything we as a commission
yeah,
vote to say we're going to spend our money
Yeah.
here or spend our money there.
Right.
I'm not sure who makes the decision how that.
well, one thing that's clear in the state law, that the city, a class city, cannot make that decision on its own, it has to be from a planning commission. So the city can't just go out and say, we're going to ignore we're going to do it ourselves, and they can't do it. They have to have a planning commission actually develop a planning area boundary.
Somebody
So
got to pay for
unless-
it, and we don't have the money, we don't have the money to pay for it.
Right.
Without the city gets the money.
So unless the city council or the mayor, whomever is in charge of this, says you are allotted so much
Yeah.
money,
Right.
we're just sitting here.
Right, we're actually doing a scholastic exercise at this point.
Okay.
I agree, yeah. So we're just trying to figure out, so we can cover our bases. One of the things, like I said, there may be also areas of concern that we want to conserve, somebody talked to me about Mill Hollow Road and some areas in that general area that maybe is outside the city limits. I don't know I have to look at the map myself on Mill Hollow Road, but there may be conservation areas that we want to bring into the city limits so we can conserve them. So, I don't know if that's the case. I haven't really done my research, but that's one thing that we can do as a planning area boundary, is as we develop these areas, we can put recommendations for those areas that we would like to see a park there, or we'd like to see, something. And we can add that. That's part of what that state law says. We can delineate some information to the council that is what our recommendations are for XYZ area, or whatever you want to call those areas as we get that information. But we can do that.
We can still, without having really an engineer, we can design a plan.
Yeah, we can come up
We can
with
get it with a map.
a kind of a swag.
Drawing a circle, it's
Right.
within 1 mile of the city
Yeah,
limits.
and we can go out, and we can do site visits out there, we can walk around, and we can look and, and like, I think the attorney at the municipal league that we had the thing, he says, all the people that are going to be brought into the city are not going to like it. So,
Yeah, Tom and I have been down this road.
yeah. But that's the rule. So that, and so I'm kind of expecting that. I've already been, I tried to be nice and talk to people about it, and boy, did I get slapped around. So it's just the way, he was right. They're not going to like
But
it.
the map itself is not really going to be subject to.
No, the
It's
map,
just- We
the map,
designed that.
right, we're just designing the
And
planning
it's
area
just
boundary.
potential
It's
for
gonna-
advancement in
Right,
progression. It's
the
not
city
something that's locked
council,
in.
yeah, the elected officials have to make that determination, and they adopt the entire map, they annex the entire map, or they take sections thereof and do, hodgepodge it and pick their areas. But that's what the legal description's for.
So we need to know if we have a budget.
Well, yeah, that's true. Right now, we
it's
need a
kinda-
budget, so I'm going to put a dollar sign.
I feel like it's nice to have this discussion,
Yeah,
but we could have 4 of these workshops
Yeah, but if we,
And,
Right.
and still, we get nothing. So I think we've got to have some commitment
Right.
well, that would have to be like
that
an,
we're ready to move forward on this. Otherwise, I mean, it's a waste of time.
well, yeah, no, not really, because if we just do the planning area map, we're just foreseeing we think the city can do over the next 500 years. I mean, we can't get an open check to say, okay, we're going to start building this development over here, we want to hire an engineer to do it. We're just developing a map that can be worked on with the next 20 years of city.
Oh, sure.
But we can only go out a mile. I mean, we can't do
Sure,
it.
sure, they could-
Mile.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know,
all we're trying to do, we're not trying to buy anything, we're not trying to develop anything, we're just doing a planning map that shows the area that we think that could be developed in
And
any
that-
capacity,
yeah.
retail, hotels, or something.
Right.
But that would have to be annexed, that would have to be a whole new process. The only thing that we're trying to do now is just develop a map.
Right, right.
And that's just basically looking at the areas, like you say, a site visit if you want, and then just drawing a circle around it.
Right, right. And then I'm, exactly. And so the
This is something that
Number
should have
of
been done
acres.
25 years ago.
I know why I hadn't been done.
yeah, oh, yeah. And it's a pretty I mean, you go around, and especially, some of those areas you mentioned on 62 or 23 South, it's pretty intense. It's a lot of
Well, that's it. I
information
mean,
there.
you go to a spot where, you got 3 feet of dirt, and then it drops down into the holler. You don't want to necessarily involve that in your planning area unless you're
Well,
planning.
but, look at now what we're doing now, we're getting lots in the city that people want to build on, and the lot size,
Right.
like the one we had on Fairmount, this code says 4,000 square feet. The lot was only 3,200
Yeah.
square feet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the future because
That's true.
if people want to move here,
Right.
they can look at the thing out there, but the opera out there on,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hole, and they've spent $34 million on it. I mean, so you never know what somebody beside may, want to do in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah, we are, we have a finite amount of acreage, and I believe, I mean, that's what we're looking at, we're literally, that inventory is declining, and now we're ending up at we're going to have to go out to be able to bring in more stuff. And we're needing to expand, simply put, to be able to keep the city alive. If we don't, either innovate, motivate, or get out of the way, right? That's the thing. So we're going to have to figure out a way.
So what steps do we need to take?
So I think the first, like I said, the workshops, one of the things that we've got to do, and I think is like I said in the discussions, is try to agree. If we're looking at these areas, we can focus on 23 South. Every area we pick up, like we pick up every couple of weeks, we look at an area and we come up with a plan for that area, and then we go to the next area. So we have north, south, east, and west.
Really?
And we look at the symmetrical ones that are just, I mean, it should be easy to identify the places where across the street is not in the city limits. It should be,
You'd almost need an aero view to go a mile out with these trees and everything. I mean,
Right.
I have no idea what's.
And then you don't have to tell us what, you can say, I want to go this, but then you may look at it and say, look, you can take a half a section here, a quarter section here. It's real easy to get a legal description.
right.
We say, well, we only going to go here, here, and there. Well, I mean, you start doing a meets and bounds. I mean, up here, that'll be, you're talking about, big money.
Right,
Whereas
right.
You can look at
So-
the map and say,
Yeah.
well, there's a section here, and half of it's in city limits now, but a half is not.
Right,
So
right.
half, sections easy to delineate,
Yeah.
they go out.
So I think,
Quarter section or whatever, so.
And I think the biggest hurdle we're going to have, and we have, is the budget. Like I said, the money thing,
Yeah.
the appointment of an engineering company, and I think, like I say, I'll work with the mayor's office and try to get that
But I don't
done.
think that we need an engineer to just give us.
Well, no, I'm just saying that.
Oh, in
that-
the future.
Yeah,
Right, well, I'm just saying that the steps as we go through, it's kind of like if we were to do, like I said, if the engineer came aboard and we brought him on board and we had him do a kind of a quick glance at the area, looking at maps and looking at geological and some other things, he can come up and say, well, this is the best area here. We could start on that first. He could actually help us guide our direction, so we wouldn't be working in an area that he's not
And
sure.
who do we need to contact? The mayor's office?
That's right, and I think the mayor's office,
That's my concern. If there's already an engineer,
yeah,
I mean,
Well, I don't
We
know.
don't know what if he is actively working on this.
Yeah.
We don't know what he's doing, and we need to know what he's doing.
Right.
Because that appears to be the,
The understanding I had was just that the understanding I have is
he
that
seems to have more knowledge about this than we do.
Absolutely.
Put it there.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, an engineer, that does the survey work will know more.
the understanding I have is that he knows of somebody that can do it.
Yeah, and again, that part of that thing is he's gonna see deeds, he's gonna see areas, he's gonna see ownership and the sizes and how it butts up against those areas that we're looking at expanding.
Could we, anybody, whoever knows how to do this, I guess anybody, I could even call a different city to see if they have a planning area map and get somebody
Doesn't matter.
here.
I mean, it's going to be, the engineer can look at it, and like the one in that workshop where we, had the municipal league there, they showed Searcy. What Searcy did there, because they used the interstate highway, and they didn't say, I want to do something here. They said, well, we've got a real easy thing. The highway is here, the river's here. We go to those two boundaries. It's real easy to plot that out.
Sure.
We don't have that.
No,
We
no,
can,
we don't have
I
that
mean,
at all.
But the engineer can tell us. He may
That's
say,
right.
Look, I can do this for X dollars. If you just say 1 mile out and we'd look at section and quarter section or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I can go out and do a meets and bounds around the whole thing, which will be very expensive.
Right.
So we need to have him look at it and say, what's the easiest way to get a legal script?
Right, and so
We
what
don't
I,
have to say we want something here, something here, something there. Just give us the,
Right.
what's the cheapest way to get legal
and
script?
I can get a hold of Berryville and find out from their city government who they hired, or if they hired, who they used an engineer.
Or if they even
with.
have a planning area map for
Yeah,
Berryville. See how you guys do it.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they had to do a planning area map.
We don't have one.
Well, no, I understand, but I think before the county will let them expand, they have to submit a planning area
Then
boundary.
they
They had to have something.
then they would know
Yeah.
how to do it, I would
Right,
assume.
that's exactly right. So,
McClellan Engineering already has that in their computer.
yeah,
They're out,
They-
supposedly our
Supposedly.
engineer.
Yes,
So they've already done a lot of work.
Yeah,
You were at the
yeah.
spring, so probably don't want to start from scratch with somebody different.
Oh, no, I don't, I'm saying, they probably, maybe that's who they use. I'm just trying to,
mean-
if we can find out, what they did and how they did it, and, but like I said, one thing that was
It's not
interesting was,
complicated, I mean, it's just,
no.
But I mean, unless you guys know how to do it, I don't. It'd be nice to get somebody in here that has done it and maybe just give us some tips on steps and some guidance.
McClellan's done it, I mean,
Who has?
they've done all my maps, our zoning map, they keep updating all the time.
They've done a planning area map?
They've done our zoning map.
Well, I know that,
So
yeah.
many years they redo it.
Yeah,
Because
but-
we changed.
But how do you do a planning area map?
Well, I mean, they can take what they've already got.
Who's they?
McClellan Engineering.
Oh, you would think McClellan can do it for us.
Yeah, I mean, they're already our engineer for the city.
Right.
So
And I
you
presume
think
that's who the mayor talking to, I don't know, because they've already got a lot of stuff in their computer.
so you're thinking about seeing about the opportunity of hiring McClellan to do a planning area map for us?
Yeah,
Well, when we get to that point, but I
Right.
think first we have to decide what areas
Right,
would benefit the city.
yeah, exactly. Right, and that's what, yeah, exactly. So we're looking at the benefits, and we talked about economic, we talked about maybe historic, preservation of some kind, parks,
Public use
some
lands,
city,
yeah.
land, and those kind of things that would benefit the city, having more area for those things.
I mean, even within our guidelines here, it says that three areas you'd want to do is a land use, community facilities plan, and then a master's plan within that
Right.
area. So, yeah, there's a lot to do once you get out there, but as far as right now, I mean, I'd like to be able to say that we had this, and then we actually have done something.
Right.
So you're talking about right now getting a hold of maybe the mayor's office and seeing about the potential of hiring somebody to give us the
Well,
dimensions?
Susan's already contacted the mayor's office and asked him to get us
Yeah.
a quote on how much money we got to do this. And he
She said she
not
hadn't heard
responded.
back.
Susan,
So what,
yeah.
so what do we do now?
Well, I think we just go back and keep bugging the mayor's office until we get the answer.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, this is obviously hasn't been done since this was printed.
Right.
Which is fine, it's okay. It's just that, are we here to get something done?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just, like I said, we are here to get something done, part of the workshop. A part of the workshop is discovery, and we're discovering
Okay, sure.
this part of it we need to do. So I think the discovery is that we definitely need to hear from the city on budget, and we need to hear from the city on recommendation for an engineering company.
That's what I'm saying. We need to find out if we have to.
Yeah,
Well, then the planning commission has to, one that does the
Right.
plan.
right, we'll do
So
the,
we could do a resolution today to say, we want to do this,
yeah,
and then, wait, and say, subject to getting a budget, we can
Right.
proceed.
right.
Oh, sure. Not really. It says one of our duties is to have one of these.
Yeah. Now,
done.
one of the things that you brought up earlier is that the amount of acreage in Eureka versus the number of income is why we don't currently qualify for state grants.
Yep.
That's a fallacy.
Well,
That's what the mayor said.
Okay, well,
That's what he said.
we can talk
The other
about that.
day, they had the American Rescue Plan money ran out at the end of, December. And they had a thing to figure about who got sidewalks and trails. Bentonville, Rogers, Fayetteville, Springdale, and Berryville all got money. Now, you telling us
Oh,
that we
okay.
make more money here than Bentonville and Rogers and Springdale?
I would say that'd be
There
a
may
big
be some
stretch.
grants that does affect, but it
Yeah.
doesn't affect
Anyway,
all
that's,
grants.
that's different.
Okay, so we need to find out what that,
But right now, we're just trying to get this is just our initial
yeah, but
meeting
one
to
thing
discuss
is we're
this.
looking at, basically, one of the things, like we said, we're running out of places for people to build
Mm-hmm.
houses that are within the current requirements. And so part of that would be to us to be able to get more acreage. So that's one goal in the planning area boundaries, to increase the acreage.
So I think what we can, it's the first step really for this meeting to be done is to contact the mayor's office to see about the potential to getting a professional in here to give us some boundaries to work
Right.
with. Okay,
Yeah.
that's something in itself.
But I think that we all should be thinking about these areas
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that we feel we could go out a mile.
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial to have a
right.
discussion?
So,
Sure.
for instance, I know an area already that we talked about a little bit, and that Passion Play Road. Well, one of the major owners out there, Passion Play, boy, I talked to them, and they weren't happy at all with my conversation, just saying, hey, what if this happened? And so there may be areas that maybe we want to do last, if we do that area.
But that's
Because-
not, but we're not annexing, but we're not been doing anything.
No, I know, but planning area boundary would be, identifying
Yeah.
that in the city. But like I said, there's maybe areas that are easier to do.
We might as well get them all at
you
once
end
if you
up with
can.
On this,
I think we just need
All
to
at once.
have a wish list,
There we
Okay.
go for the gold,
Right,
and then we may cut it back.
Yeah. We're not really
We
taking,
know that people are not going to be happy with this.
right.
It is our job.
yep.
Fortunately, I don't think it's anything we're going to vote on.
Yeah,
We'll be passing that along to,
yeah, the city
City
council.
council.
That'll be on their shoulders.
but I think we do need to be very cautious when we go out into the community, because sometimes people may misunderstand.
Right, right.
I remember a time, Tom, when
they had the line outside the building.
we had a
here.
line outside the building because we'd had a workshop on the same topic.
Wow.
And by the time, well, you know how things get started. You break your finger, and by the end of the day, you're dead.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of the way this went.
Wow.
And we were the bad guys.
Wow.
And I think we just need to be real careful how we deal with this.
Okay. And like I say, if we can get something right now, as far as what we've done today is just to contact the mayor's office regarding
I got it.
engineering
Yep.
input. And then
Yep.
also on our own, if we just want to go out and look around,
Right.
and read more of this, I mean,
Right.
just to
And
see
come
it.
back with, this area has benefits A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Just as another reminder, we cannot go on private property.
I understand that.
Right.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to be going to somebody's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could be on the street looking, but you can't.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to
can't
look at,
touch.
just to be able to look at an area and say, okay, this looks good because there could be some, some more development here. Even like out on Passion Play Road, that, people used to own the coffee shop downtown. They have a thing out there, and we just approved their
Right.
building of
Oh,
17 base camp, 17 buildings. They're going to build a wedding venue. All of that is, since it's outside of our boundary, that's not subject to,
Right.
anything we can do. And that's, obviously, that development's going to add more to it. That gets property, and it would be nice if we had that within our planning area.
yeah. And one of the
And
things-
that's not annexation, it's
Yeah.
just including it in our potential planning for the next 50 years.
Well, that's in the city limits.
Right.
Is it?
That's why we approved
That's,
it.
that's Passion Play Road is inside the city limit?
When you come off of 62, and you go down by base camp, you're going to come up to,
You're on Passion Play Road.
you're on Passion Play Road.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe before where that flower shop was, that
Right.
campground.
That
There's
little
a
strip.
sign that says, you're now leaving the city.
Yep.
And from that point,
Toward
I
the-
believe till you get up to where you turn down, it's Magnetic Road.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got the
If you
park.
turn down, I think that there's a
Anyway,
good
that-
portion of Magnetic Road that is also county property.
That's
I
right.
don't know where I mean, Magnetic Springs belongs to us. I don't know where, we might look at the road. and
Yeah,
make a
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That-
that's part
But those are,
of the
but those are
research,
areas we
yeah.
can look
Yeah.
into.
But
We
there's,
can look-
again, there's
Yeah.
a not,
I don't know
I
where
mean,
it
there's not a
starts
lot
and
of
stuff.
development area.
Yeah, I mean, I would like
But-
to know
but
about
again-
that too. I would like to
yeah.
know, based on our city limits, where that, if you put a mile around that, what it would encompass, what kind of land surface you're going to get to put these facilities in, if you have any long-term
Right.
plans. But yeah, we're just trying to develop basically just a roadmap
That's right.
for future development
Yeah,
planning.
right, yeah. Like I said, we could look at it, that'd be a great place for maybe the new hospital, or move the hospital, or
Anything.
a second hospital, something like it. Or that'd be a great place for a playground, or a park, or a preservation area, something. But it's not just have to be, putting houses. Yeah, go
We've
ahead.
we've got 15 minutes till.
Oh, yeah, okay. We've been doing this pretty good, then I'm glad we got that discussion.
Anyway, it's a good discussion. I appreciate it.
Okay, that's what it's about, is to get that discussion started. So, anybody else, anything else we haven't covered that we'd like to cover, other than I'm gonna go beat up the mayor's
I
office?
think this is a good start.
Okay, okay, all right, okay. Well, then we're gonna go ahead and close the workshop, and the city zoning board and planning will, the voting board will start at 6 o'clock, so, thank you.
Thank you.